Hi, Libra. Welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for November of 2022. We are the astrologers of Pandora Astrology. I'm Jamie Kale Miller. I'm in Berkeley, California.
I'm Julie Mijas in San Francisco, California.
Well, Libra, if this is your sun sign and you missed your annual birthday reading this year, it's not too late to get oriented to your personal new year and all the good stuff it holds for you, including answers to your questions about finance, which might come up. And we might be talking about those in this horoscope today. You'll find a link to help you get that reading in the text that comes with this video. Well, the first thing I want to say, Libra, is thank goodness Juno's relationship retrospection period is over. It can be so disquieting for the Libras of the world who live and die by their relationships when Juno goes retrograde, which she does about every year and a half or so. But she's done now. It's been several months of examining our relationships, maybe a little too closely at times, and looking for soulmates, sometimes in the wrong places, sometimes in the right ones. But fortunately, that period is over, and we can go on from here with the partner that we have, assured that some stability is ahead. And you can find out a lot more about Juno retrograde in the videos that we made about it in several months playlists going backwards. So on our YouTube channel, Pandora Astrology, you'll see that news is arranged into playlists by month. And that in the July, September, and October playlists, you'll find videos about Juno. And if you had some relationship kerfuffles over the last couple of months, that would probably be why. Might be some great information there for you. Ceres is in Virgo, and Ceres speaks to good stewardship of our physical lives. The ways that we connect with the physical world, our physical bodies, the food we put into them, and the money we make to sustain them. However, it's very difficult to be a good steward of your physical self when Ceres is transiting along through your 12th house, which is a very disembodied house, a realm of imagination and dream and fantasy, but not so much a realm of reality. Ceres in Virgo is kind of trying to clean up and organize things like your bedroom, your wardrobe, your cosmetics, your money, certainly, and your food and eating too. But trying to do that in the realm of the 12th house is really difficult. So probably it would be a really good idea to reassert your spiritual connection to your body by spending some time in nature. Go for a walk in the woods, connect with your favorite animal companion. Now I want to speak a little bit to Jupiter, which is traveling along through Pisces. It had visited Aries earlier this year, is now retrograded back into Pisces, is in your 6th house. And this is bringing you the last burst of job luck that you're going to have for quite a while, probably. I say probably because I don't know your specific chart. This is a horoscope. And Jupiter in the 6th house generally is a really great time when you can be particularly shiny in the workplace, and it can be a very good time to ask for more money, more benefits, a better position, a better title, whatever constitutes growing in your job or moving up. Now could be the time to ask for it and make that move while Jupiter is still in your 6th house. Jupiter is going to go direct in its sign of Pisces on November 23rd. I'll show you what that looks like. See the little red RX symbol there? That's Jupiter retrograde. Here it is going direct. You see the little red RX goes away. And the day that Jupiter goes direct, right around the 23rd, could be the right time to make your move. Hey, Julia, I know you have very important news about Mars.
Oh my goodness. Yes, Libra. So Mars is a planet that rules action and activity. It's kind of like your little battery packs. Wherever we have it is where we tend to be driven. And Mars starts the month retrograde, and it's going to be retrograde for a few months, actually. This whole process happens about once every 2 years, so less frequently than, let's say, Mercury retrogrades. They tend to be a little bit more significant. So anytime a planet is retrograde, which means that it is apparently moving backwards in the path it just crossed in the sky, even though we know that actually physically what's going on is all the planets are moving forward at all times. This is actually an optical illusion, but it's very important to astrologers. So Mars is doing this backwards motion now, and it's all happening in your 9th house. This is a house that represents travel, school, if you happen to still be in school or doing anything educational, and it also represents the law. So with Mars moving backwards in your 9th house, since Mars is a planet of activity and the 9th house is a travel house and Gemini is even a sign that has to do with travel, this can be a time that's very frustrating if you have to take any long-term trips. You might find yourself having to redo or go over some of your traveling. And since this house also represents education, this can be a frustrating time, maybe at school, where you might have to sort of reapply yourself a few times to get the lesson right. And since the 9th house is also a legal house, with Mars in here, if you do get involved in any legal entanglements, it might be better just not to try to fight it blindly over and over again. Mars can represent our fighting spirit, but kind of see if you can settle. Like if you get a speed ticket, for example, this might not be the time to just run into court and guns blazing and trying to fight it with the police officer. This might be a time just to kind of see if you can be as patient and easy as possible. Now, Mercury, the planet that represents your mind, starts the month in your 2nd house. This is a money house. It represents the money that you earn through your income or salary or private business, for example. So with Mercury in the 2nd, this is a time where you're really preoccupied with your finances, maybe even your possessions too. And on November 8th, Mercury is going to exactly conjoin the Sun. And this is an important date to keep track of because it's known as Greater Epiphany Day, a time of insights. So you could be having insights into your finances. Maybe you're having some connections about how you can strategize around money more or increase money more, or maybe some revelations into your possessions, what you want to acquire, what you need to get rid of. Then on November 17th, Mercury enters your 3rd house. This is also a travel house, but it's different than the 9th because the 3rd house represents more short-term trips. So if you're trying to weigh out between taking an international trip right now or just doing a smaller trip, like within your state, like a little road trip, it's probably going to be better to do the little road trip. Mercury in the 3rd house is also a time where you might have increased communications with your siblings or neighbors as well. And then finally, Venus, the planet of art, beauty, and relationships, starts the month in your 2nd. And Venus really likes to be in this house. She rules this house via her rulership of Taurus. So with Venus in the 2nd, you just want to indulge. You just want to physically enjoy the world, whether that's good food or a massage or buying beautiful things, artistic things, things like luxury items that give you pleasure. And then on November 15th, Venus is going to hop into that 3rd house too, a couple of days before Mercury does. So Venus in the 3rd house, like I said, great time for a little pleasure trip, going off to the beach, taking a small road trip just a few hours away. It's also a very good time if you have to get a lot of writing done, especially because Mercury's in this house too. Venus will help you find a little bit of pleasure in writing and maybe even be able to articulate yourself more poetically too. And Venus in the 3rd, since this is a communication house, is really good if you need to be very diplomatic with other people. For example, Mars in the 9th retrograde, having to be diplomatic to a police officer or some other legal snafu you get yourself involved into. Venus will help you find the right words to be very sort of balanced, poetic, and diplomatic in your communications as well.
Absolutely. There are 2 moons I want to tell you about. The first one is a full moon, which is also a lunar eclipse. We know it's an eclipse because the nodes are nearby. Here's the moon. It opposes the sun. That's what makes it a full moon. And then the nodes are very close by. So this one is an eclipse. And the full moon, the eclipsed moon, sits in your 8th house, of intimacy, sharing, connecting. It's shared monies, shared bodies, which is sexuality, obviously, and shared hearts as well. So this is very much a house to do with merging, and the moon's presence here brings high emotion to this arena, and the fact that the moon is to be eclipsed brings up shadow material, what Carl Jung called, the shadow, which is that side of us that we don't really like to look at every day, and that we don't, want to see or display, definitely. So look for big emotions to come up in your most intimate relationships, and also possibly strong emotions regarding your state of debt, monies that you owe, whether that's credit cards or a mortgage, a loan on a car, business loans, whatever it may be. You may find that you need to put some attention on managing that better, and that you're forced to take a look at your own dark side in the process. Opposite to that is the Sun and Mercury and Venus here in the 2nd house, bringing some balance as you feel into your own finances, totally aside from anything that you owe or ways that you interface with other people. And so feeling into your own finances and thinking about how you want your finances to be and what is the most pleasurable way to run your finances can form a counterbalance to managing your state of debt. So lots of thoughts about money there, and also about intimacy too. The next thing I want to tell you about is that the sun changes signs, moves out of Scorpio and into Sagittarius right here in your 3rd house. And as Julia was saying, this is a house of the mind, the intellect, curiosity, communication, also short distance travel, and your immediate environment, the people that you see every day. Wherever the sun goes, we want to shine the light of our high quality attention, because that way things in this area can thrive and flourish. So take your attention out into your neighborhood. Greet that, convenience store proprietor behind the counter more warmly on the corner, like go on in there and say hello and bring a lot of warmth. And you can make your own neighborhood a much nicer place to be by the warmth you bring to it while the sun is passing along through your 3rd house. You can also learn more rapidly and process a lot of information. Then the next thing, or really the last thing I want to tell you about, is the new moon in Sagittarius. And here it is. Set this for hours so you can see that moon actually in Sagittarius. And here it is with the sun and Venus and Mercury, which have arrived in this 3rd house, lighting up the 3rd house arena even more. This moon is really good for absorbing information, processing information, learning, and expanding your mind, especially. This moon, we call it the wisdom of foolish hope, because this moon contains so much positivity that it's sort of like presses its aura of hope and optimism outward so strongly that it kind of demands that what you're putting out there can come back to you. So this is expressly a time to hope foolishly, dream big, and imagine how you want your life to be so that it can come back to you. In other words, this moon is particularly good for planting seeds in the form of a manifestation practice. Well, that's what we have for you today, Libra. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like it and share it with people that you love, and subscribe to our channel here on YouTube. You can find out more about this month's moons and Mars retrograde too on our website, pandoraastrology.com, in the forecast tab. And on our website, you can book a reading with us or take a class. And until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye.
Bye-bye.